Welcome to Guns Gear Network, everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I want to bring you this discussion about adding flashlights to long guns. My opinion is that anything that I personally would consider using for self-defense purposes has a light on it. So it's just the way I do it. I think that they serve their purpose well. I want to be able to distinguish good guys from bad guys and all those things in between without having to physically carry a separate flashlight trying to shoot any type of long gun, carbine, whatever. So I always have a flashlight mounted on any of those type firearms. And when you look at yours, you're going to have to look at a lot of different variations, models, different styles, whatever. I like a traditional flashlight. I don't like most of the kind of weapon specific type LED lights and things that attaches to Picatinny rails. I just like a traditional flashlight, and then put in some type of mount to put it into the system. So then you look at the mount itself. There's hundreds of people making mounts, and there's probably at least 100 different styles of mounts. Cant mounts, this mount, that mount. There's just all kinds. Quick releases, whatever. They're just all over the place. You could use something as simple as usually most standard flashlights is about a 1-inch tube. You could simply use a cheap 1-inch scope ring. And I've seen that done. Matter of fact, this particular flashlight here came with one of those type mounts. I've had good luck with some of the eBay finds with their LEDs lately. I've got some of the Surefire and Streamlights and stuff like that, but to be honest with you, these just kind of beater truck guns kind of things that I might use in a self-defense situation, I've had really good luck out of these with no issues, and they work well. So, but let's talk, and then you also get into a click switch, and then the click switch can either be an on-off or a momentary on and release. Then you get into pressure pads, and we'll discuss all that here in a second, and because I actually have both. I typically don't like the momentary on where you have to push it forward and it doesn't click, it just releases. As soon as you release your thumb, it goes off. Because when you start shooting, it's hard to concentrate on keeping that pressure on that switch on the back end of a flashlight sometimes, so you'll have where it's flashing on and off. And that's to me not good because I don't want that distraction when I'm trying to actually see a target I need to acquire and engage. So I prefer a simple click on and off. Now, when you're ordering a flashlight, make sure you're not getting one that's like a 3 mode, 5 mode, where it has a high beam, low beam, strobing, and all this other stuff. Don't get those. Those do not work at all and are really not designed for weapons. You want either a simple click on and off button or one that you can push and it will not click in, but it'll momentary on the light and then you release it. So there's a few different variations. And then you get into pressure pads. I'm really not a fan of pressure pads, but they do have their place, and I'm getting ready to show you why in this situation it worked best for this particular application. Now, my carbine length, one of my carbine length rifles that I have the flashlight mounted on this side, right here, because I'm right-handed, so I would grip the firearm with my left hand. So I mounted it here with the mount, and it's actually this same style mount, but this one has about 5 positions, I think. So what I did was, imagine it on this side of the rifle, and it's in this position. And when I'm gripping it, I just simply push this button, click on and off. But on this one, because it is my AR pistol, it is a little crowded because I don't have a big long rail system out here. And it's obviously shorter and all that. So I couldn't really get the extension I needed and get that flashlight in the correct position on this particular application. So if you're trying to get it, what I suggest is you're in your natural position. I don't want to have to be doing some weird over here or over here trying to get a light on and off. So whenever you're mounting one, you need to be sure you're in your natural shooting position that you typically use, and that you can simply just move your thumb in either direction to click it on and off. Except in this case, I wound up with a pressure pad. And the reason is because it was crowded over here. I couldn't get the light to work in my natural shooting position, and it just didn't fit me. So I had to go to a pressure pad. Me personally, I don't like pressure pads. I would much rather have a simple, they're finicky. They can be, because the electronics can get a little fragile. Weird stuff like that goes on. They can get snagged on things, whatever. So I prefer just a clean, simple click switch. But in this application, I couldn't do that. But I'm going to teach you a couple tricks that I do to kind of, if you have to get pushed into using a pressure pad, or if you just like a pressure pad, then I'm going to show you how I mount mine to make it work a little better. These pressure pads can be a little finicky, depends on the manufacturer. Now I will say that some of the newer pressure pads actually have a momentary on like this, and then up here a lot of times, like Surefire makes one that has a button, so you can go past the momentary, go up here and click it on and off. And I may wind up switching to that with this one. I may dedicate the money later to a Surefire. Again, this, if you follow my channel, this was a budget build, and I was just trying to see what I could get done for the least amount of money that still made sense and that everything functioned correctly like it should. So, but what you can do to help, a lot of people worry about having to secure these pressure pads. What I do is I do put Velcro down on the unit itself, the pad, and then put it on, and then I take zip ties and put it on. Part of the reason that you get a weird sensation of you can't get the light to stay on, with it kind of flickers or whatever, that's because this stuff's giving and moving a lot, and so that connection it keeps getting unconnected. So if you'll zip tie it really tight and secure into place, now I can sit here like this, and the electronics this thing is not giving and moving to mess with the electronics. So a simple push will keep them on and off. So this is not bad. I just don't like it because of the reasons I've already mentioned. So what I do is I zip tie it here in two places. I come around, and each application may be a little different, but I come around here and then I zip it, tie it here in two places. It comes underneath the firearm on top of here, which is the same configuration. You see I have it here and then back up here. Same thing as the other side, two zip ties, and then it comes over to the light itself. So that's kind of how I set mine up, and to me it works well. It's kind of the only thing that's a little bit exposed is this section right here that could get snagged. Everything else is pretty nice and tight to the firearm, doesn't get in any way or anything. And with the zip ties on the pressure switch, it does help a lot, being able to not have to exert so much crazy pressure or something like that to get that thing to come on when I want it to. So just some thoughts, guys. I do like these type mounts, and I don't even know which brand this is. I think CAA maybe was the original. Yeah, CAA, and I'll maybe link to that down below, was the original manufacturer, and there's since been quite a few different knockoffs, very similar styles, and I actually have both. This is a CAA version, and then there's some others. So I do like these because they are flexible and versatile. So if I want to mount it, the only thing it doesn't do well, I'll show you this. If you just want it off the side of the Picatinny rail, this one will do that, but see how far it sets off the side? Like a long way. Where if you want it nice and tight to the firearm, you're going to need a low mount that goes up closer to here. But this one does do well down at the very bottom, at an angle just slightly, you know, like that, and just slightly at the bottom like that, and then all the way around flush, and up top flush. Give you that view, nice and tight to the firearm like that. So this one I decided to run it this way with it down at the bottom and with the pressure pad because it does work well with my grip. The only thing I have to do, I don't have to change my grip or anything. I just reach down here and hit the button, and yet I'm still being able to grab the weapon like I need to, and then come back off the pressure pad or whatever. And then if I do decide to run a laser designator up here, which that's the plan, everything's out of the way of the laser designator, and I can still get to my button. And again, you might have to move this. I might have to actually move this switch over to the side a little bit. I hadn't got the laser designator yet, so I don't know if it comes over here too far. I may not can get my thumb to it quick enough because of that. So I have to consider that when I'm looking at when I get everything set up, and I'll have to make adjustments at that point. But anyway, guys, think about running lasers on your flashlights on your firearms. I think it's well worth it, and just pay attention to what you're doing. Like I said, don't get into some wild configuration of trying to move your hand to one side or the other to do it. Just make sure that you can take a natural grip and then just barely reach to either side without having to manipulate your actual firing grip itself. Well, anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. If you got any questions, post those below. If you got any suggestions, maybe something you figured out about a light that you'd like to share with us, please share that with us. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up. It's over there. If you would, share content. It's also over there. That helps us get the word out about the channel and all the vendors that do participate with us on some of the reviews. As always, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Bring another video shortly. Have a great day.